Hi guys, welcome and who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10 where I cover our beloved bless you boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. You are a family member, a Who Dat Nation family member of mine, and you can also consider me a friend or a coworker who loves the Saints as much as you do. And every time you see me, you want to know what I think about them boys, and this is what I think about them. You guys leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Today, I'm going to be talking about 10 players that the Saints are depending on for their success in this upcoming season. We're not expecting a lot of success. And I think if we're going to have any kind of success, all of the players are going to have to play well, right? It's a team sport. Yeah, if a quarterback's going to be successful, chances are it's because the offensive line is good, the receiving core is good, the running game's good. Very few quarterbacks in league history are so good that they can make every other unit around them better. Most of the time, NFL quarterbacks depend on everything else around them working. And we probably have that situation with the two quarterbacks we have in the room leading the team right now. So I want to look at 10 players, and yeah, quarterback's definitely going to be one of them. The 10 players that have to have really good seasons in order for this team to have success this year. And when I say success, I mean competing, okay? Where we've been living in this 7 and 10, 9 and 8 area ever since Sean Payton and Drew Brees left. So I think being competitive, if you're 9 and 8 and you're a game away from winning your division or getting into the playoffs, then you're competitive. So have we transitioned enough from the old to the new to consider this a success? No, I don't think we've had a chance yet to implement the new coaches, the new style, or to pick the players that are going to fit this style. So yeah, it's a work in progress. I think it's going to be a couple of years before you see some real fruit from this tree. But if you're competitive enough to go 9 and 8 this year in the middle of this transition, it might bode well for the future. I mean, you still got a lot of older players on this team, and they're going to have to play good. They're going to have to play out of their heads. being being we have a 30-year-old plus running back, and all of our key defensive positions are highlighted by older players. Yeah, we're going to need a lot of players to step up and do good. And once those players are gone in a year or two, these older players, it doesn't necessarily mean youth translates into more success. Yeah, we're going to get more youthful. We're going to have coaches picking players that fit these schemes, and we should be closer to the end result. But it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be that much better. So I think it's a couple of years in the making. So in other words, in order for us to consider this a successful year, we have to see a lot of good things from young players. And as far as the overall success, well, yeah, somewhere in that 7 and 10 to 9 and 8 area, I think that would show a lot of competency from the coaching staff and some of the players on this team. So who are the 10 players that we need to step up and to be really good in order to kiss a first round draft pick, overall first round pick goodbye and fall into the middle of the pack again? Nobody wants to be there. But if you're a team coming off of a 5 and 12 season, then yeah, add a couple of wins to your total and you'll feel like you're going in the right direction. I hate to say that mediocrity is the right direction, but hey, especially when, we all want that high draft pick next year. Well, what if these quarterbacks work out? One of them's on this list, whichever one is our starter. I'll just, spoiler alert, that's the number one guy on this list. But let's start at the bottom and work our way up, and I'm kind of cheating. Now remember, there are no right or wrong answers here. Everybody has to play well. This is just the way I look at it. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. At number 10, it's not a player at all, it's a coach. Brandon Staley. Now, we all need Kellen Moore to work out, and we all need all of the position coaches to work out. But I have more confidence that Kellen Moore is going to work out as a OC and then, to a degree as a head coach than I do Brandon Staley as our defensive coordinator. Brandon Staley has had some highs and some lows. So I think about the Vic Fangio tree and all of the coaches that have come out of that. And there's been some success stories like Vance Joseph in Denver. And then there's other stories that aren't so successful. So from what I've been able to gather, these coaches are kind of sticking to what they learned from Vic Fangio. And meanwhile, Vic Fangio, the OG himself, is having success with the Eagles. And I think Fangio has found a way to grow this philosophy to adapt with the times for as old as he is. Yeah, he used to coach for the Saints back in the Dome Patrol days. So this guy's been in the league forever, my whole life. And he's still able to be innovative enough for his defense to be successful. And we're kind of spoiled. We had Dennis Allen for almost a decade, and that's a solid defensive coordinator. So switching to this new defense, 3-4, with nickel and odd different fronts and whatever that shell coverage and mix match thing and all this stuff. A lot of people are saying the league is kind of turning into that right now. And so there you go. You get some success stories and you get a lot of stories that aren't successful. So Brandon Staley's one of those branches off the Fangio tree, and he had a lot of success one year with the Rams with great players on the team, and then mixed results when he was the head coach with the Chargers. So that's what we're looking at. I mean, say he was part of San Francisco's defensive coaching staff last year, and San Fran, was a shell of themselves from the Super Bowl run the year before. Does that have anything to do with Brandon Staley? I don't know, but it gives me pause. And although a lot of people think Brandon Staley's defense is exciting and it's going to, you know, be really successful, I know I've been a Saints fan my whole life that coordinators come and go. It's what you do for the Saints that matters to me. I don't care how big of a Chicago Bears fan you are and how you know deep in your heart Mike Ditka is a great coach. In my opinion, Mike Ditka's not a great coach because we had him for 3 years and we weren't very good. Same thing with Spagnola. Right now, he's the hot thing. I mean, he's been in the Super Bowl for 3 years straight with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have been relevant as long as he's been their defensive coordinator. And he had a lot of success with the Giants before that. So he spent just enough time with the Saints, and we were really bad for me to say, no, I don't believe you. I don't care how you feel about it. It's what have you done for me? So I hope the Brandon Staley we get is closer to that Rams version than it was to the Chargers version. He's not a head coach. He can focus on the defense, and I think he's got a lot of obstacles because he's inherited a 4-3 team, and we're not quite sure how a lot of these players are going to fit into the system. And I also have questions about whether the system is going to be effective or not. There are vulnerabilities to what he runs as a DC, and he's going to have to be imaginative and he's going to have to mix it up. And he can't be predictable. And when those opportunities arise with a coverage of Staley's that he likes so much for the offense to go ahead and gain a bunch of yards, I hope we have the players that figure it out and can counter that. So, but as a whole, yeah, I'm going with Brandon Staley as number 10. I think of all the new coordinators, I think he's the one I have the most questions about. And I hope this defense works, and I hope he has a way to counter anything that is successful against him. And I hope he can make the players work in it. And Staley's not a player, but he's number 10. All right, the rest are players. At number 9, I'm going with right guard Cesar Ruiz. Cesar Ruiz is an average player, and there's ability there. So there are plays when he looks really good, especially in the run game. But has he put it all together to be a perennial all pro or pro bowler? No, not at all. Has he put it together enough to be a starter that you can count on? Well, when you got a guy like Trevor Penning on your team that you're expecting to start and play well, then you have a little less apprehension with Cesar Ruiz's ability to start at right guard. But the overall picture, Cesar Ruiz is a player that this team can improve on. He's just an average player right now. And there are some games when he gets his tail whipped. And we've seen lots of quarterbacks take massive hits because Cesar Ruiz whiffed on a block. It just happens. So if we want to have a successful offensive line, it's not just about the young players that tackle. It's also about the two guard positions. And I'm saving Trevor Penning for later on in the list. But Cesar Ruiz, I have to mention it. He's an average player right now, and average being that sometimes he looks pretty good and sometimes he looks pretty bad. If he can just be consistent and not ever look bad, then we win. But yeah, there's two weak links on this offensive line, and I don't even worry about the young guys at tackle, which could be a problem. I worry about the guards. Cesar Ruiz at right guard is here at number 9. At number 8, I'm going with tight end Jawan Johnson. Everybody knows we haven't had a tight end since Jimmy Graham that was a real difference maker. I mean, I liked some of the stuff we got from the guy from New England, and then we end up with Jared Cook, and it looks good for a year, and then it looks bad, and then it's just been very inconsistent. So I love Foster Moreau. Glad he's on the team. Yes, he epitomizes what we want the Saints to be. A guy who loves the culture and wants to be here and gives it his all down to the last couple of plays of the last game of the year when you're 500 and he hurts himself. And yeah, hopefully he comes back. He's well and he's playing well. But yeah, he is a basic, in my opinion, a really good player to have, but you don't want him to be your starter. He's just not there in his career. We need Juwan Johnson to be the $10 million a year guy, the guy that's going to score 7, 8 touchdowns, the guy that's going to be a safety blanket for the quarterback. What's been the problem with the tight ends over the last couple of years? I don't know. Maybe it's because Derek Carr never looked at the tight ends as long as he was with the team under all the different coaches he was under. Maybe it just wasn't a priority of his as a player. Maybe it wasn't a priority of the coaches. Or maybe it was part that the tight ends weren't doing a good enough job to warrant that focus. And we see glimpses of Juwan Johnson looking great, and we wonder why it doesn't all come together. So maybe this is the offense under Kellen Moore that focuses on the tight end. Maybe we have a quarterback in the building who's willing to take that safety blanket, and maybe Juwan Johnson is a player good enough to make things happen when he's leaned on, and not just when all the receivers are hurt at the end of a year. He's got to stay healthy and he's got to be a factor in every game. If we're going to have success, I'm assuming that our tight end's going to need about 4 or 6 catches every game. That's what I'm looking at. And if Jawan Johnson does that, he'll shatter his Saints single season record. I mean, he only averages probably about 50 catches, 500 yards. And if we're lucky, he'll get 5 touchdowns. So Jawan Johnson does that, we'll be okay. But it would be nice if he actually assumed the starting tight end role, getting paid the money he's getting paid, earning it, and being a factor, an X factor, a guy that every week you have to say, okay, Juwan Johnson can take this game over. So you have to worry about him and then let all the other pieces work too. Work so much better when the tight ends happening. We had a chance to draft Tyler Warren. We went with Kelvin Banks and we went with Juwan Johnson. So come on, Juwan, step it up. I got him at number 8. At number 7, I'm going with wide receiver Chris Olave. Chris Olave just needs to stay healthy. Every quarterback throws a ball that Chris Olave is going to have to go up and get. Okay, it's not just DC hospital balls. Okay, he's gotten smacked around no matter who the quarterback was. And it's going to continue to happen because if he's going to be our number one wide receiver, he's going to have to run the entire route tree. And if he's getting open like he does, like one of the best in the league at getting open, I think he's number one when it comes to the quickness of beginning a route. So press doesn't bother him. Nothing that they throw at him bothers him. He gets off the line, he gets into the route, he runs the route perfectly, he gets open every time. So yeah, he's going to have to go up and get a bad pass a lot. If he's going to be the featured wide receiver, then his 6 foot frame's going to have to deal with the punishment. I hope there's some things that we can do, to avoid the concussions because that's seriously the only problem I have with him. So he stays healthy, of course. That's priority number one. And he has a history of being hurt constantly. But he stays healthy and he's our number one wide receiver. He's going to have to play a lot better than what PFF has him ranked as like the 24th best wide receiver in the league, you know. And personally, I think that's right around what he is. He's a high level number two, but a low level number one. And yeah, he gets open better than anyone in the league. He catches everything you throw at him, but he doesn't have a lot of yards after catch. He is a liability because of his size, and he also doesn't find the end zone very often. So maybe those things change. Maybe he can add to some nice stats if he stays healthy. We expect 1,000 yards from him. Is he going to catch 4 balls a game? Is he going to catch 6 balls a game? And is he going to stay healthy? Because if he can perform better than what PFF has him ranked at, the 24th best receiver, if he can crack into the top 15, and we got a number one wide receiver that's doing it week in and week out, 6 catches, score, finding the end zone. I think the most touchdowns he's ever had in a single season is 5. So when I think of a number one wide receiver, I think about a guy catching 7, 8 touchdown passes. So yeah, he's got to do a lot more than stay healthy. He's got to find the end zone. But yeah, the ability's there. So I have no problems with Chris Olave being a very good player. But he's 6 on my list because if he's a real true difference maker, if he continues to progress, he stays healthy and he actually shows on the field he's getting better, then maybe he'll have 1,200 yards receiving. Maybe he'll find the end zone 6 times, 7 times. He'll catch 85 balls. We'll see. At number 6, the aforementioned offensive lineman Trevor Penning playing left guard. And what's Trevor Penning's biggest problem? Well, he can't pass protect. He lumbers out there in a slide, kick slide for tackle, and it seems like no matter who he's going up against, they can choose whichever way they want to go, and he has a hard time getting his hands on them. The timing is off, the position is off. He oversets, he undersets, he does everything wrong in pass protection. So as a guard, he doesn't have that much space to deal with. And I think as far as when you get your hands on the player, you're going to have to get your hands on the player pretty quick. So as far as his timing is, how bad it is at tackle, I think it'll be better at guard. So he's tall. He's going to have to worry about, his position, how he handles it. He's so big, he's so strong. He should be a great anchor, and in the run game, he should be dominant. The only issue we should have is that he's 6'7", so hopefully the quarterback can throw it, see over his head and throw it accurately. But then again, we're talking about Trevor Penning, a guy that's from a small school that struggled his whole career. And even last year, when he found consistency, he still was a liability at times. We had to put some protection, extra protection out there to help him. At times, we left him on his own and he was fine, but most of the time, he struggled, and the quarterback had to get rid of the ball fast or they were going to get sacked. Penning is not a top tier offensive lineman. I would rank Cesar Ruiz as a better overall offensive lineman than Trevor Penning right now. And so that's cause for concern. On the bright side, this might be the perfect spot for Penning at guard. It might be perfect. We might be talking about a great player, a Mekhi Becton 2.0, a success story. And yeah, that would be nice. A lot of it depends on Penning developing here now. It's pretty high on my list, number 6, because if Penning doesn't work out, Redunz is supposed to be able to come in and do a fine job too. From a Tennessee Titans offensive line that was not very impressive to me last year. I don't think that getting a starting offensive lineman from the Tennessee Titans from last year is the solution. Lucas Patrick might be a better player than Redunz. I don't know. If Redunz is as good as Patrick, yay. Okay, it's this is definitely a stopgap. So if Penning doesn't work out, then you're talking about finding a new starting guard either way. Whether Redun's placed his ability as good as Patrick or not as good as Patrick, it's a weakness on the offensive line. Trevor Penning can change all of that if he puts it all together. It's just taken a long time for him to develop. He's had to play different positions, but if this is the position that works for him, yeah, then we don't have to worry about getting a starting guard. We just have to re-sign Penning, make that the priority, and then we have our bona fide starter for the future. Yeah, that's a way better solution than Penning not working out and us having to play Redunds or Landon Young or Will Clapp. All right, so let's get into the top 5. At number 5, I've got cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to have to play really good ball in order for this team to be successful. Now, everybody knows Alontae Taylor is the star DB for this coaching staff, and he's going to be on the field all the time. I have a feeling we're going to be running majority nickel for most of every game out of necessity. And so I think Alontae Taylor is going to be on the field all of the time. But whether Taylor plays on the outside or the inside, the other spot is going to be manned by Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think that's the way things are going right now. And Kool-Aid has a lot of ability. I think he had 6 pass breakups last year, 5 maybe. Um, you know, a young guy, a rookie last year, so he was out of position a few times, but for the most part, he did pretty good. Now, is he going to be a great shutdown cornerback? I don't know. There's ability there, and he's trending in the right direction. As long as he isn't a liability. If Kool-Aid McKinstry turns out to have some sort of sophomore slump, if teams that we play are picking on Kool-Aid McKinstry constantly, and it's not allowing everything else on the defense to work, then we're going to be in trouble. Kool-Aid has a lot of ability. There's a lot of optimism here from us Saints fans, especially. We saw that he could be really good at times last year, and we forgive him for, the discretions as a rookie. And this next year, taking a step forward is what we're all kind of hoping. And I'm here to say I got him at number 5 because it's something I think that, yeah, we need to happen. We need him to take that next step, and he needs to be a bona fide starting cornerback in the NFL if he's going to be on the outside 100% of the time. And it looks like that's the way it's going to be. So, yeah, if we're going to be successful, Kool-Aid McKinstry needs to take that next step. Don't want him to be a liability in this secondary. If they've got somebody to pick on constantly, and with Taylor at nickel and Kool-Aid on one side, you're going to have a lesser player on the other side, whether it's Isaac Adam or Quincy Riley or Razon Wright, or Rico Payton or whatever. Yeah, that player can be picked on too. It's gonna really suck if McKinstry's getting picked on with great effect as well. So number five, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Number four, I'm going with defensive tackle Brian Bresee. This guy against the run is the worst in the league. When you look at the metrics, he ranks the worst. That's the reason why his grade at PFF is so low. And we all think they're crazy. They're talking about Brian Bresee being one of the worst defensive tackles in the league. And the man had 6, 7 sacks last year. Defensive tackles don't get 6, 7 sacks. You're a special player if you do that. And as a pass rusher, he is a special player. But as a run stopper, he is literally the worst in the league. So how can you feel confident about starting this guy, expecting him to play every down, when 60% of the time he's going to have a running play coming at him, and he just cannot get better? He stands straight up and gets pushed off his spot. There's no strength. He plays high. He's always played high. And I never really saw that pass rush from him on a consistent basis when he was at Clemson because, he did miss a lot of time. Now, to his credit, he stayed very healthy. But God, he's awful against the run. If it's a running play, if the offensive lineman doesn't take a step back, and that's his trigger to go into a pass rush, if that offensive lineman attacks him right out of the gate, he stands straight up and immediately gets pushed back. Then he cannot get off the block ever. It's embarrassing, and he's a liability. I think if he plays with his pad level a little lower, if he wants to engage this offensive lineman, how can his pass rush be so fast and beautiful, but he can't engage the proper level in a run play? I mean, just something has to change there. Something has to change. In my opinion, Brian Bresee is just half of a player. Nathan Shepard always gets to start ahead of Brian Bresee because Nathan Shepard's better against the run. And then we roll Brian Bresee out there on third down and tell him, yeah, just go ahead and pin your ears back. But every now and then, Bresee has to be out there for multiple plays in a row. And when it's early downs, he just gets his butt whipped. So I need Brian Bresee to step it up. I love him as a pass rusher. I don't want him to just be an I want him to be an every down defensive tackle. I don't want him to be just a third down pass rushing defensive tackle. It's like into the game, we're winning by a lot. You can keep Brian Bresee out there because the other team's got a pass, and they just keep running draws and getting 20-yard runs because Brian Bresee's not doing anything. Whatever. I need this guy to step it up. So Brian Bresee, number four. At number three, I'm addressing the defensive line again with edge rusher Chase Young. Yeah, he was like number 7 in the league in pressures last year. He did great. He got like 70 pressures. It's amazing. It's pretty wow. And then 5 sacks. So he's going to be standing up now. He might have to be in coverage some if we're going to blitz other players, but for the most part, Chase Young's going to be coming at the quarterback with speed. I think Chase Young is a very impressive player using power to get to the quarterback, to rush the quarterback. And I don't know how effective that's going to be coming off the edge. It might be very effective. You just drive the guy straight into the quarterback. But yeah, we need Chase Young to be a star. 3 years, $51 million, up to $57 million. So the contract could be worth 57 million for 3 years, and that's damn close to 20 million a year. So for that kind of money, you need a player that's going to affect everything. And that defense works because Chase Young's affecting everything. So we weren't very good on defense last year with Chase Young's magnificent pressure numbers. I want our defense to be better, which means that our best player is going to have to get some sacks this year. Now, we had flaws all across the defense. Chase Young, I guess, did his part when it came to affecting a lot of the plays. But take that into your own hands in the play by getting the sack, getting the strip. And yeah, what's important to me and why I have him here at number three and why I'm focusing on it so much is I feel like you're gonna need production from this position for this defense to work. So you're the guy getting paid all the money. You're the guy that we had faith in. We gave a chance. You showed us a lot of stuff. We give you a big contract. This is the first time Chase Young's ever re-signed with a team. I mean, nobody's wanted him and gotten rid of him. We're giving him that chance. He's still a young player, and this might be a position that he thrives in. He's got great speed. I just think he uses power very well too, and I'm interested to see how he fits in this defense. But he can be a very special player. He could definitely be a player that, changes the face of the outcome of the defense, changes everything. What Chase Young does is going to matter a lot. Brandon Staley's defense was successful with the Rams. He had Aaron Donald as a successful pass rusher. Well, Chase Young can turn out to be a successful pass rusher, and it makes this defense go, then yeah, we're going to be in the thick of things if we can put up a top 10 defense. A lot of these players in my top five are defense. They've all been defense so far. And at number two, another defensive player, cornerback Alontae Taylor. We're expecting a lot from him. The coaching staff is excited. Kellen Moore seems to love him. Loves that Alontae Taylor can do it all. It fits with what they want to do on defense. And yeah, they keep calling him the star. He's the star DB. It's a cornerback, but it's a cornerback that's got to play the run as good as a linebacker. He's got to be able to cover like a safety, and he's going to have outside responsibilities as well, and he's going to have to blitz like a linebacker. And Taylor can do all that very well. He's great against the run. He's really good rushing the passer and coverage. I think he's had a lot on his plate since he's been with the Saints. So he's learned and seen a lot in this league. And you always hope, no matter how high the player's drafted or how great a physical talent he is, you always hope they progress and get better. And if they're struggling at something, you hope they get better at it. And eventually it's not an issue. Brian Bresee has to be better against the run. Alontae Taylor has to be good. He has to be better on the outside covering. He has to be better covering on the inside too. But as an overall player, Taylor has a lot of ability. And yeah, if this defense is successful, it's because Alontae Taylor's putting up, borderline Pro Bowl numbers, if not Pro Bowl numbers. He's got to be among the league leaders at DB when it comes to tackles for loss and sacks and pass breakups. He does all of that, and we've got a good defense. Alontae Taylor, and I think he is going to be a great player in this defense. I think he's going to make it, which means we're going to have a lot of success if Taylor makes it. He's number two on my list. And number one on my list is definitely the quarterback. Now, I've got Tyler Shuck written here, and if it's Spencer Rattler, it applies the same way. It's just the quarterback position. Whoever it is, Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, is going to be, they're going to be pushing a rock, a big boulder up a hill. They're going to have a lot. They're going to have a lot to accomplish. They're going to have a lot to overcome because they don't have a lot to work with. They got a wide receiving core that lacks a big body. You wonder about the depth. You got a tight end room that doesn't have the big star. You have an offensive line that everybody says is supposed to be a strength. An offensive line with Trevor Penning and Cesar Ruiz starting on it. Yeah. And you got a running back room that's, Alvin Kamara, and then a bunch of question marks. So whether it's Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, they don't have a lot to work with. Not as much as they could, not as much as they will when we get under the cap and we can start addressing other positions because we've made other positions work. This team's going to have to draft defense for the next couple of years, and everyone knows it in order for them to be successful. There's a lot of old players that you need to replace on this team. Just because we drafted Jonas Sanker at safety doesn't mean we have to replace him for Matthew to maintain the success. You know, just because we got Stutzman doesn't mean Demario Davis is replaced. And yeah, Cam Jordan. Granderson's going to have to play good. Everybody on this team is going to have to play good. The quarterback's going to have to play very, very good. And what I mean by good is they're going to need a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I don't think you're going to make it very far. I don't think you're going to be impressive at all if you're throwing 24 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. I think that's expected from a rookie, but you're not going to have a lot of success doing something like that. It needs to be more like a 30 to 15 kind of ratio. You get up to 30 passing touchdowns as a rookie on this team, and you're doing really good. I expect if Tyler Shuck starts and plays all the games, I expect him to throw 26 to 28 touchdowns. There's a lot of big play potential here with this team. Kellen Moore, I have a lot of faith in the scheme. So, yeah, I do expect a lot of really good stuff from the quarterback. But it's a rookie. I mean, when it's all said and done, you're probably talking about 24 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, maybe 3,200, 3,300 passing yards, a passing completion percentage of 65% if you're lucky, probably more like 62. You expect a guy to struggle. But yeah, if we can get anything better than those numbers, if we can get 65% completion, 3,500 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, keep the interceptions to 15 or less, and that's a really good, really, really good rookie campaign. Then you'll know you have your guy. If Spencer Rattler can do something like that, or if Tyler Shuck can do something like that, you know you have your guy. I just don't want us to be going out there and crashing and burning. We don't need one touchdown, three interception games from either of these quarterbacks. And we don't need to have a revolving door at quarterback either. We don't need, after 4 games, to have a quarterback with 4 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. And then you're putting in the other quarterback because you think that's going to be better. And then after 3 games, they're doing the same damn thing. 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. We need to pick one, ride with it. It's got to be better than it's got to work. Quite honestly, if they can put up the numbers Derek Carr put up, then we should be happy. So I kind of look at Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler as almost the same player. Shuck might have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to accuracy, and he's a bigger player. And Rattler he has the experience in the pros. He's got that going for him. I think they both have comparable arm strength. Shuck seems to like taking the deep shots. So either one of these quarterbacks, to me, could be a Jameis Winston or a Jared Goff type of quarterback. And you pick which one you'd rather have. I'd probably take Jared Goff over Jameis Winston. I'm terrified of a guy capable of throwing 30 interceptions in a season. Um, Jameis got that kill, kill shot dog in him. So I like that. But yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. These quarterbacks turn out to be pretty good. If they can put up Jameis Winston or Jared Goff type numbers, that's the kind of players they remind me of. I look at Tyler Shuck and Jared Goff as being pretty similar, with Shuck's ability to run a difference. So give them a good offensive line and give them time to throw the ball. They'll make the right decision, and the team should have success. And he's number one on my list, whether it's him or Spencer Rattler. Let the quarterback make things happen for this team. All right, there you go. Wanted to throw together a video for you guys. Not a lot to talk about with all of these walkthroughs and stuff. Everything leading up to mini camp or training camp is actually not going to be very newsworthy at all. The best news is that nobody's getting hurt during these practices. That's great. And we've got a lot of excitement, a lot of players in new positions, and everything seems to be honky dory right now. And yes, if I can come up with another idea, I will for a video next week. The Saints content providers are driving me crazy with the stuff they're talking about. They're still talking about Derek Carr. For God's sake, get it off my plate. We're going to talk about the players that are actually on this team, on this channel. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10, and you'll get more videos about the Saints from a Saints fan who loves them as much as you do. And let me know what you think about everything. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?